Suzuki Motorcycles here in the UK are offering new customers up to a 10-year warranty on any new bikes as of 2025, which sounds like an amazing deal. Go out and buy a Suzuki bike right now. The thing is, over recent years, it's been a bit of a bugbear of mine how expensive new motorcycles are. And so from a consumer's perspective, this seems like a really good deal and it offsets the cost of that new motorcycle. Basically, a customer feels like they're getting more value for money. It incentivizes customers to buy new. But these things often have a habit of being a little bit too good to be true. So today we're going to run through this 10-year warranty from Suzuki and we're going to see if it's legit. Now, most of us are already aware how reliable Suzuki as a brand are. Not just their motorcycles, their cars also have got quite a good reputation for reliability. Their engines are pretty bulletproof. So it's nice to see Suzuki getting behind their reliability, getting behind their bikes, the reputation that their bikes and cars have. So at its most basic level, this warranty lasts up to 70,000 miles or 10 years, whichever comes first, which sounds like a crazy amount of mileage. And even like 45, 50,000 miles is considered a high mileage bike at that point. So for Suzuki to offer up to 70,000 miles on a warranty is absolutely mad. Although there are going to be some people out there that will make full use of that 70,000 miles within 10 years. I mean, look at my MT-09, for example. It's 3 years old. So it was 2022 and that bike was first bought from new. And it's done 20,000 miles. That's such a lot of mileage in just 3 years. So I have no doubt that consumers are going to make use of this warranty at that mileage. It's not that unfathomable, not really. But so there is a bit of a catch with this, but to some of you, it might not actually sound as bad. Kind of depends. It kind of depends on your situation. But basically, this is acting like an extended warranty from Suzuki. So you do still get the 3-year standard warranty when you buy the motorcycle. But after that point, in order to qualify for this extended warranty, which is free in effect, you have to get your bike serviced at an authorized Suzuki dealer. And you have to do it every time as well. So it's not just oil changes and things like that, it's everything. So all the fluids, the spark plugs, there's all sorts of different service items that will come in at certain intervals. So things like oil and filter, that'll happen every year, but maybe every 3 years you'd have to have the brake fluid changed and the oil changed. Every 5 years you probably need to have something else done. You might need to replace the timing chain, things. I'm not saying that's really what it's going to be like. It kind of depends on what's in your manual. But that's one thing to look out for straight away is the owner's manual of one of these bikes before you buy them and see what the service items are at any given point, because that's how much basically you're going to have to spend at that point. So it does make the bike more expensive. I mean, more expensive over the long term, although it does mean that you're probably going to have a pretty reliable bike over those 10 years. So to some people who like to tinker with their bikes, this isn't really a good deal for them. They're not going to benefit from that 10-year warranty. But any of you who like to get manufacturer servicing and authorized dealer oil changes, things like that, maintenance, well, you guys will be over the moon with this because you're already doing the maintenance schedule from the owner's manual. So as long as you just keep doing what you're doing, you will automatically be entitled to this 10-year warranty. Now, this warranty does also apply to used motorcycles as well. Not any ones that are used from pre-2025. So if you're watching this video, I don't know, 3 or 4 years from now, and you buy a Suzuki bike that was new in 2025, 2026, you will still be eligible for that 10-year warranty. Even if it has missed servicing or something like that, what you'll have to do in that instance is take the bike to an authorized Suzuki dealer and have them do a health check. So basically they're going to see what maintenance items are overdue and they will bill you for that work. If you get that work done, then your bike's warranty will resume. So yeah, it's a bit of a Great for some people, not so great for some others. Things like mods, you won't be allowed to mod your bike in those 10 years or 70,000 miles, whichever comes first. But for the most part, I think this is a pretty cool little endeavor here from Suzuki, and it certainly will drive sales of their bikes. There's a couple of caveats to this. So I remember when Kia, the car brand, were offering 7-year warranties on their cars, and that seemed like a crazy good deal as well. Like, buy a new Kia right now, they're going to be crazy reliable. But unfortunately, that 7-year warranty hasn't really increased the overall brand reliability of Kia, even though they try to stand behind their cars. I think to this day, new Kias are still offered with a 7-year warranty. I don't know what the circumstances, terms, conditions are for Kia cars, but they've been doing that for a long time now, and it's to try and incentivize people to buy them, brands that are getting behind their cars, their products, which I do appreciate. But unless you're already a brand like Suzuki that already have that reputation for reliability, then it's not necessarily going to work for you. And, well, it's not going to change the fact that if things still go wrong, you are still having to send your bike off to get fixed within that warranty period, but the cost isn't on you. The cost is now on Suzuki. So the overall reliability of the bikes isn't actually any different to what it was before. The only difference is that Suzuki are prepared to pay for those repairs. And for all we know, Suzuki as a brand, a bit like Kia, they might be prepared to spend a lot of money on these warranty fixes if something goes wrong, just to try and save the brand's reliability record, which might be a little bit underhand for some people's taste, especially with the recent data that's been coming out around Suzuki's reliability of their historic bikes. But like I said, you can take that data with a pinch of salt if you want to. I don't necessarily believe that. That's just reports that we've done videos on and kind of analyzed. But yeah, it could be a way of Suzuki trying to stave off this growing reputation that their bikes aren't as reliable as riders think they are. But that doesn't change anything from a rider's perspective, within riders' experiences and things like that. If they have had Suzuki bikes for a long time and they swear by them, you're never going to change that person's point of view, even if it is with a new Suzuki bike that breaks down after 2 or 3 years or something like that. Someone who likes Suzuki bikes is just going to think, oh, it's a dud, it was a manufacturing flaw, what have you, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change the overall opinion of the brand, at least not for most people anyway. But yeah, so all in all, you guys, this is a pretty good deal, but even though you're not paying for an extended warranty up front, you are basically paying for an extended warranty by getting the bike serviced at an authorized Suzuki dealer. So that's the one thing that you'll have to make sure that you don't get caught out by, is that the garage that you're taking the bike to is an authorized Suzuki dealer or mechanic, whatever the case might be. I'm not entirely sure what counts as a Suzuki authorized retailer, but most mechanics probably won't have this. So if there's a local mechanic that you like sending your bikes to for maintenance and repairs, Suzuki might not honor their 10-year warranty on that bike. So it's just something to keep in mind. So next we're going to take a look at what this extended warranty actually covers. Now, as of right now, this is only in the UK, so England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and the Channel Islands, and the Isle of Man. But I don't know if this is going to be rolled out across the rest of Europe or in the United States. I'm not sure. They'll probably have a different warranty system over there. So check it out at your local dealer, see what Suzuki are offering you there. This may get rolled out to you in the near future. So some small print here is Suzuki will allow a maximum of 250 miles or 14 days in excess of the recommended service intervals, whichever occurs first, to qualify for the continuation of cover. Outside of these parameters, warranty cover will begin 30 days from the date the scheduled service has been completed. So it's not like as if you forget to service your bike that you will lose access to that 10-year warranty, but you will have to take it to a Suzuki dealer for them to do that health check thing in order for them to resume the warranty, which is pretty cool. So this is what isn't covered on the warranty. Filters, fuses, spark plugs, worn, warped clutches, brake shoes and pads, discs, cables, oil, fluids, coolant, drive belts, pipes and hoses, lamps and bulbs, high tension leads, wheels, spokes and tires, batteries and exhaust systems, including catalytic converters, unless it fails the exhaust emissions standard following a test of exhaust gases, general oil leaks due to failure of any seal or gasket, bodywork of any kind, fuel tanks, body panels, paintwork, screens, mirrors, except in the case where they suffer an electrical or mechanical failure, seat covers, exterior trim, locks, hinges, handles, antenna and cosmetic items, fork legs, tubes and seals, parts not approved or equivalent in quality or design to parts supplied by Suzuki, damage or defects as a result of consequential damage caused by non-Suzuki genuine accessories, aftermarket parts or modifications, parts replaced under normal maintenance or servicing procedures or replaced as a result of normal wear and tear adjustments, reprogramming or loading of software, the cost of repairing components such as timing belts or chain failure where such components have not been adjusted in accordance to the manufacturer specifications. That's a big one. Covered components with an existing defect at the time of policy commencement, burnt out, sticking or pitted valves. So that's actually quite a comprehensive list of the things that Suzuki will not honor the warranty for. So suspension, wheels, a lot of wear and tear items, but you could make the argument that suspension, the forks, the rear shock aren't really wear and tear items. Not really. I remember I had an old Mazda CX-5. This was from 2015. And one of the coil springs on one of the axles broke. And it turns out that Mazda honored the warranty fix for that part. And some manufacturers won't. Some manufacturers would consider a coil spring as part of a suspension system to be a normal wear and tear item, but not for Mazda at the time. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, a big one here is the cost of repairing components such as timing belts or chains failure where such components have not been adjusted in accordance with the manufacturer specifications. So things like valve timings, things like valve clearances, things like chain tension or belt tension. I don't know if there's any Suzuki motorcycle that use timing belts these days, but all things like that, internal components that are also serviceable items at the recommended intervals will be things that you will have to do in order to qualify for this 10-year warranty. Some of those jobs can be expensive. So that's just one of those things to keep in mind, you guys, that unless you are keeping your bike in tip-top condition, then and you can afford to pay for these fixes and these adjustments that need to happen every so often, even just with valve checks. So more often than not, motorcycle owners, they don't do valve checks. There's no real need to do them unless there's something obviously wrong with the timing of the engine, and you'll hear it, by the way. It'll be a really obvious sound that something is wrong with the bike. You're not really going to check the valve clearances. Some people will swear by that, and as a responsible person on the internet talking to you about motorcycle maintenance, you should do your valve checks, all right? Your valve clearance checks, your timing and things like that at the recommended manufacturer intervals. But I don't do that personally, okay? That's a risk that I'm taking to myself. Most riders don't feel the need to do that on a frequent basis. Maybe if the bike has got a ton of mileage on it and it's never been done, then maybe they will do that in that instance. But for the most part, most riders will not bother doing things like that, because even just to get them checked, even if they're all good, the clearances are fine, you still have to pay a mechanic. Unless you're even with this, you're not allowed to do the work yourself. You have to get it checked out by an authorized Suzuki dealer. So even just the labor cost in getting the tank off, getting the airbox off, getting the head of the motorcycle off, getting the clutch cover off, that all costs money, which you have to pay for. Suzuki aren't going to pay for that. And in some cases, depending on the bike, it can be a lot of money. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like a general valve clearance check at mechanics right now, I think it would probably cost you about £500, depending on the bike, of course, give or take. £500, $600. So that is quite an expensive cost, especially if you are buying a used Suzuki and you want to claim that 10-year warranty. That's part of the health check. Basically, you'll have to send it off to a mechanic, a Suzuki authorized mechanic. They will tell you what work needs to be done. And if something like that needs to be done, then it's going to cost you a lot of money. And I can't remember what the mileage is exactly on average, but it kind of depends. It could be 7,000 miles. It could be 2 to 3 years. It could be 5 years. It really does depend on what it says in the owner's manual. But that's one of the things that will be a huge cost to you if you want to keep this 10-year warranty. So other things, obviously, if you are using an aftermarket thing and you have it on your bike and it potentially could cause damage to the bike, then they will not honor that either. Things like aftermarket slip-ons and things like that, I think you probably be able to get away with that just fine. Just keep the old exhaust. So when you do take it to a Suzuki dealer to have the maintenance and all that stuff done, take it off, put on the original one again, and they should be none the wiser. But more drastic modifications or things like power commanders, maybe ECU flashes, things like that, if they notice that something like that has been done to the bike, they will not honor the warranty. Maybe if you put it all back to normal, back to stock, maybe then they will honor the warranty. I'm not sure. That's one of those things that isn't really specified here. I suppose if you end up putting in a claim, Suzuki will decide on a case-by-case basis whether or not that is something you can claim for. I don't know. Or maybe it's, maybe they think it's outside of their obligations to you and the bike. One other thing that they haven't mentioned here is insurance. So where do insurance claims come in? So if the bike is being damaged in a crash, in an accident, do you have to get the bike fixed at an authorized Suzuki dealer? I don't know. That's one of those ones that I'm not entirely sure about, because more often than not, insurance companies, if you put in a claim with insurance, they will send the vehicle off to a mechanic that they want to use, whether if that's to save money or whatever the case might be. Usually it's because these mechanics are prepared to do the work for cheaper. That's what they'll do. I'm not sure if there might be some insurers out there that will allow you to pick the mechanic that you choose to fix the bike for you, but in a lot of cases they will not allow you to do that. So you will have to basically give the bike over to the insurance company and they will handle it. Otherwise, if that is the case, then great, but that's just something you've got to keep an eye out for as well. If you're buying insurance for that bike, then make sure that the insurer is prepared to let you get the bike fixed at whichever mechanic you choose. Make sure that it's a Suzuki authorized dealer or mechanic that's going to do the work, and then you can claim the money back from the insurance company. Again, those insurance policies are probably going to be a little bit more expensive than the general ones, but that's just one of those things to keep in mind. Check it in the small print as well. Before you take out the insurance policy on your new Suzuki bike, check that the insurance allows you to take the bike to an authorized Suzuki dealer for repairs. Again, if you're unaware of that, and then all of a sudden you get involved in a crash and you let the insurance company deal with it, I'm not sure if Suzuki will honor the commitment to the warranty. So it's just something to keep in mind, all right? You might have to contact Suzuki beforehand and ask them about it, or maybe ask the dealer in that instance where you'd be, in terms of the warranty and whether or not they would cover you for that going forward after the bike has been fixed. But you guys, there's quite a lot of stuff on here. You can get this document from Suzuki's website directly if you want to go and check it out yourself. But there is quite a lot of small print here. So if you are interested in taking advantage of this 10-year warranty from Suzuki, I would advise that you check this out, read all the small print, so you're not left with any nasty surprises, all right? If something goes wrong with the bike and you expect that Suzuki would fix it, and all of a sudden they come back to you and say, sorry, we're not going to fix it because of X, Y, and Z, well, be prepared for that. And you never know, maybe with some of these things, Suzuki might just honor it anyway. If it's a minor thing that isn't covered in the terms and conditions, they might just honor it anyway. Suzuki are a brand that have done that before, as far as I'm aware. And like I mentioned earlier, this also applies to cars. So here in the UK, the limit is 100,000 miles and 10 years. The terms and conditions are slightly different for Suzuki cars. But again, it's great that Suzuki are offering this with their cars. It's not something that you have to comply with as well. If you don't really care about having the 10-year warranty, or maybe after you've paid the finance off on the bike, you don't plan to keep the bike and you don't really care, you're just going to sell it on anyway, maybe then at that point, it's the next person's ownership of that bike to be responsible for it. I don't know. But another thing to keep in mind here as well, I'm just trying to come at this from as many different angles as possible here, is that if you do keep the bike serviced and it does comply with this 10-year warranty, that might increase the value of the bike when you come to sell it. Whether if it's to a dealer or if it's to a private seller, you may actually get more money for the bike because the warranty can be transferred to the new owner as long as it's less than 70,000 miles and it's less than 10 years old. So yeah, just a few things to keep in mind, you guys. There's probably loads and loads of things that we could discuss here in this document and what counts as a warranty claim, what doesn't. But you guys let me know down in the comment section below if I've missed anything, or maybe there's some details in here that we've missed that make a huge difference to the overall value of the warranty. Yeah, you guys let me know down in the comment section below. But from my perspective, this seems more legit than not. I think a lot of it does depend on the owner that you are. If you service the bike yourself, I'm not sure if Suzuki would honor the warranty fixes. Maybe if you went to an authorized dealer, you got the filter and the oil and all the parts that you need for servicing from that authorized dealer, then fitted them yourself, maybe that would count. I don't know. There's some murky waters there when it comes to tinkerers, people who like to service their own bikes. I service all of my own bikes, so something like this wouldn't really be that beneficial for someone like me. But if you are one of those riders who you like to get the servicing done at the recommended intervals, you like to keep your bike in tip-top shape, and you like the work being done to your bike to be legit, or from an authorized dealer, then this will benefit you an awful lot, because you don't have to pay anything extra for this extra warranty. You just have to keep doing what you normally do. And it might encourage some of you who like to tinker with bikes, when you buy one of these new bikes, to do it Suzuki's way. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comment section below. But thank you ever so much for joining us on our little review of Suzuki's 10-year warranty and whether or not it's legit. Do you guys think it's legit? Let me know down in the comment section below. But thanks again, everyone. Make sure to leave that like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell down there so you don't miss any more videos from us like this. And we'll catch you all in the next video. Take care. Ride safe. Have a good one.